I will be sharing my experiences about how you can elevate the impact of research to be present at different levels in your organization, both at the tactical and the strategic level. And I guess if you are listening to this, then maybe this situation resonates with you on some level. A product team comes to you, the researcher or research team, when they have a full backlog. So they have already decided what features need to go on this backlog, what their priorities should be, and they call you when they need help on how they should build a specific feature, or actually to see if they have built something right. Yeah. So they call you for more evaluative work rather than involving you really at the start of this conversation. In conversations around what should go on that backlog, in what priority, and how will that help us reach our business goals. So I think we've all been in this situation at one stage of our career or another. And now we will actually reflect what we can do about this and share our experiences. So I will share my experience, but before I do so, let me tell you a few words about myself and my background. So like Stina has already mentioned, I have transitioned into the industry from academic research. I completed my PhD in management with my subfield was organization studies, or also known as organization theory. For those of you who do not know, it's a field that studies organizations and organizing as a process. And it's a very eclectic and multidisciplinary field. So, you know, if you do research in that field, you can draw not only on classical management theory, but also on psychology, sociology, philosophy. So really a lot of streams of human theory. And I think the advantage this has given me, now that I reflect on it, is that it has made me very curious about humans. So about human behavior, human psychology in a social context, but also about business questions and management questions. And now I realize how critical this is to building successful products, and even more important, building successful businesses around those products, because ultimately I do believe that, you know, we can build a successful product and successful business only at finding intersections between human value and business value, right? So we need to find these opportunities, these sweet spots where human interests and also business interests meet. So since I transitioned to the industry, I have gained experience in different industries, actually. Right now, I work in fintech, and I'm very passionate about fintech as an industry because I do trade and invest myself. If you have the same hobbies, very happy to share with you. Before fintech, I worked in e-commerce, and before that in cybersecurity. So I worked both in-house and on a freelance basis. And most of my professional career has actually been with startups. I have experience with startups at different stages, from searching for product market fit to startups that became established market leaders, but still preserved their startup mentality and startup culture. And as you can guess from this, my role when I joined these teams was to actually, you know, set up research as a new function for those companies. And as a result, I spent a lot of time thinking about the impact we can have with research. And part of these efforts, you know, of defining where research can have most impact has been doing strategic research for different products, different business verticals. So I have developed in the past strategy for B2C products, B2B products, and also operational divisions within companies. So as you can tell from this, you know, strategy can be developed even for different departments within your company. Most recently, I have led international research for Tiger.Trade. A few words about Tiger.Trade. It's an international trading fintech. So we make software for people to invest and trade on different markets, from traditional finance to crypto. And we have basically tools for traders and investors of all levels, from newbies to really industry professionals. And these are our main products, trading platforms for Windows and Mac OS. As you can probably tell, these are very complex technical products. However, what I think makes Tiger.Trade special is that it wants to make not only a product that is driven by technical performance, because technical performance is really important, as speed of analysis and speed of order execution is really critical for professionals, especially professional traders. But we are also very driven by our users and user experience. And by that, I really mean, this is one of a few companies where I have seen people engage with users on almost an everyday basis, like our product managers, for example. They're in touch with users every single day. And also we have many channels for collecting the voice of customer. So we want to develop not just technically superior products, but also products that are that provide superior user experience. So user research, I would say, is really, it really has a big role to play here. Now let's dive into our topic for tonight: making research matter at both tactical and strategic levels. First of all, I think it's important to clarify what we mean by strategy and tactics. On a high level, a strategy is really about where you want to go and why. And tactics is about how will you get there, right? And if we break it down, strategy involves answering a series of core questions around where do you play? So this is the question of markets and market segments. For whom do you exist? Who is your core client? Who is your aspirational client? What value do you create for them? And how will you win? This question involves answering two questions. First of all, we need to identify strategic opportunities we want to focus on and strategic initiatives we want to implement to make sure we realize these strategic opportunities. And then tactics looks at actually unpacking what needs to happen within each strategic initiative. What exactly do we need to do? What resources do we need? What timelines are realistic for us? And measuring success, right? Are we actually having the impact that we were planning to have? Do we need to improve something or pivot? So as you can tell, strategy is really, for me, it is about being intentional and making choices. And really, it is about prioritizing where you choose to invest your efforts, and equally important, where you choose not to invest your efforts. But beyond that, strategy for me, what defines strategy, it is a logic of thinking that is impact driven. And this may sound it's very much taken for granted. Like, of course, most of us work in business organizations, right? So of course, everything we do is driven by business impact. But in real life, what I find is that, this is not necessarily the case, or not necessarily the case with your stakeholders who are making product decisions. Because another logic some product teams can operate with is more like project team logic, where impact is defined not in terms of business impact or customer impact, but really in terms of productivity. So, how many features have we shipped? How fast have we shipped them? How many of X tasks we've done in what period of time? And as you can tell, unfortunately, being hyper productive does not necessarily translate into having more impact for your business or for your customers. Actually, you can have very marginal impact, or sometimes even worse, negative impact, right? So my point, I guess, is if you're trying and you're struggling to implement strategic research, then it may be because what the organization needs is not only a change in process, but also a change in mindset, right? How these decisions are made. And your stakeholders may say that, of course, they make decisions based on product impact, but just see how they make decisions in real life, what do they actually do? Because sometimes what they say and what they do may not quite align. And then you just need to help them with that mind shift. It's possible. In my experience, stakeholders do want to have a more business impact. It's just that maybe they need your help, and luckily US research can help them with identifying areas where they can really make more impact on users and on their business, right? So it's not like they don't want to make decisions based on business impact, it's just that maybe they need your help. Yeah, so let's see what strategic research involves. For me, it involves delving into 3 areas. It needs to combine knowledge about humans, people who you want to serve with your service or your product, on competitors, and also on markets and trends impacting those markets. And basically, it's a process of zooming in and zooming out, as I think of it, because you zoom in to the micro level of humans and you zoom out to a more macro level of markets. So focusing on humans can give you insight on what's going to make the most impact for people you serve, but focusing also on competitors and on markets can help you better make decisions about what's going to drive more business impact. Because, you know, you need to also see the fuller picture. What are the market dynamics, where you currently play, or maybe there is a market segment that is developing very fast, growing very fast, and your market segment where you're good right now is stagnating, right? So if you want to stay competitive in the future, then you may pay attention to actually developing capabilities to enter a growing market segment and outperform competition there. So it's, you know, it is definitely doing user research, but going beyond user research to do also competitive intelligence and market analysis and trend analysis, because, you know, I believe that the best strategic insight and strategic opportunities from that again come when you intersect these three areas of insight. You may think how you want to implement this in your organization. Do you want to be the center of expertise on all 3, or do you want to maybe support just user research, being an expert on everything that is about humans, right? So there are ways of really going about this. For example, you know, what I have seen in companies that this research, this knowledge can actually be fragmented and dispersed, like different teams in your company may be holding these different pieces of the puzzle. For example, you as user research are an expert on clients, marketing does some market research, and your product managers do collect a lot of competitive intelligence, or corporate development maybe does. And then there is nobody to actually, you know, bring these people together and synthesize all these different pieces of insight. So you need to remember that it is really very, very important to make strategic recommendations, right? And maybe you may take on the role of that facilitator who brings the stakeholders together and synthesizes what you know about each of these areas. And then you need to kind of build this full picture and think of strategic opportunities where, you know, what you know about your clients, what you know about your competition, what you know about markets, what, you know, in this full picture, what interesting strategic opportunities can you spot? It can be done in a collaborative way, meaning that, for example, you do something like a strategic session, a brainstorm, right? So just don't do it alone, but really do it with your stakeholders. And then once you have, you know, you have a range of strategic opportunities, you can already start thinking about, okay, what do we need to do to actually realize them, right? What strategic initiatives can we put in place? So this is how a research process looks like if you include strategic research into it. It is a 5-stage process where we start with discover stage, where we as research really help the company to explore these 3 areas and to identify strategic opportunities, right? And then on the level of business, we somehow need to choose between these opportunities, to prioritize between them based on what are our key business metrics and how we think each opportunity is going to contribute to our key business metrics. And then in the define stage, we go into what strategic initiatives do we need to put in place, which are programs of action on a high level. In the develop stage, we look at how exactly should we implement these initiatives, right? We explore a range of options, seeing which one actually, meets the problem best. In the deliver stage, we iterate and then we evaluate the outcomes based on, we do evaluative research, we collect metrics, and then we decide whether we need to improve or maybe pivot. Now, a very important, I think, for me, takeaway was that it's really reflecting what makes research strategic. It's not just the fact that your research raises strategy level questions like we have discussed, but it also the fact that it meets the company and its product where they are right now. Yeah, especially this is going to be a challenge for you if you join a company that is new for you, so you're not very familiar yet with the business, you're not very familiar with the product, and then you have the risk that you can go out and do all this extensive fundamental work, but it's going to have little relevance, or maybe not be very timely for your team to act upon. So, before you do any strategic research, I think you really need to kind of diagnose the company, where it is right now, where its product is right now. Because with strategic research, you want to make recommendations that are very focused and that are relevant to the business, right? You don't want to just produce a lot of insight that overwhelms the team that they don't know how to act on, but you need to meet them where they are and address the challenges and opportunities that your company is facing right now. So it's, it's not just the fact of asking strategic questions, but also being relevant to your company, your product, where they are right now. Yeah. So if you have just joined the company and maybe there was no research done before you arrived, or no good quality research done, then you need to assume this almost, role of a doctor, where you diagnose the condition the company is in and product is in before you actually, undertake any strategic research. So you need to, of course, you will be speaking with your stakeholders, kind of trying to see what their assumptions are, how they think about their clients, how they think about the problems the company is solving for these clients. Has the company actually reached product market fit, meaning that clients want to use the product, it meets their needs, but also clients are willing to pay for the product, right? Because we want to have a viable business model or somehow monetize whatever we are building. What does current user experience look like? Are our users very happy with the product as it is? Or maybe we have some, some big problems in our user experience, because all of this will affect, your definition of what the opportunities are for the company. Say, the company wants to scale its product, wants to bring it to more customers or even maybe to more markets. But if current user experience does not look very good, right? A lot of people are complaining, then maybe it's not a good stage for your stakeholders to be thinking about scaling just yet, and you need to address and focus your efforts on addressing more urgent issues there. And also, of course, they will have hypotheses about promising markets or market segments. So, I would treat whatever they give as answers to these questions as really, as hypotheses that you need to validate rather than as givens. Because if you treat them as something that is a fact that's taken for granted, and you go out and produce strategic research, what if these assumptions turn out to be wrong? Yeah, basically you have delivered a strategy that's not going to be very relevant, and even worse, can lead to a team undertaking some actions that are going to take a lot of resources and time, but are not going to drive a lot of impact. So first of all, check whether these assumptions really match the reality before you commit to, developing any strategic research program for the company. So if your team is skeptical of the need for strategic research, maybe they don't give you time to do it, they don't raise enough strategic level questions with you, what can you do about this? Yeah, in my experience, there are different ways you can still provoke the team to move from tactical research requests to more strategic research requests. Basically, what you need to do is really use tactical work to provoke those strategic questions. So, you know, you need to, through tactical work, you need to kind of frame your study to see whether you can expand your study, or is there like a deeper business question behind this part of user experience you are testing. So that, you know, it's not just a study about usability, it's not a study about evaluating whether they have done something right, but it's really a study about identifying, do we have the more important strategic questions resolved? For example, here, a team, actually this is a case study of the team came to us with a request to do a usability study of a new onboarding they were implementing in the product. And we started thinking, okay, this is like a usability study request, that's fine, but what parts of user experience connect to this onboarding? And so before users do their onboarding, they need to install our product and they go to our website to download it, right? So we thought, okay, let's spend some time seeing how people perceive our site, seeing how they perceive our product, our company, based on what we communicate on this site. And what we found was this one very interesting insight, that we were kind of highlighting a lot this feature. It is a very specific type of a chart, and traders can do, you know, it's one type of analysis traders can do based on this chart. But what we found was that actually, you know, professional traders, even professional traders, not all of them could really read this chart and use it in their analysis. You know, so like an impression they got from our site was that a product was not really for them. It was more professional than they are. And we saw this mismatch because, you know, they really fit who our core client is, but at the same time, they didn't identify with this product because they didn't understand this feature. And we were very convinced that it's like one of our product advantages, and we were highlighting it so much. So we saw this mismatch about who our core client really was and what we were doing to attract that client. So in this case, it's really triggered the team to start asking more fundamental questions. Well, like maybe we don't really understand who our core client is. You know, what is this most meaningful value we can create for them? Or how do they choose between trading platforms? How do they make decisions which one to choose? So it triggered this whole series of questions that resulted in more fundamental user research requests, right? Because we saw that we had a problem between how we were positioning ourselves and our ideal client we were trying to attract. Then another way of raising more strategic level questions would be to really how you do when you take on a new research request, how do you do your project briefing session? So here my advice would be to really be there to surface teams' assumptions on how they can reach their business goals. For example, you know, when they come to you with a new project request, we have this project briefing structure where the first thing you start with is actually asking them, what are your business goals? Now, when you add this feature or you change this part of user experience, what business goals do you want to impact, right? What product metrics and business outcomes do you want to impact? And then from there, we go on to explore teams' assumptions. Why actually doing what they propose doing will help us reach our business goals. And only from there, we go and formulate research questions, right? So the role of research is really about it is almost like reframing the value of research from helping the team to implement the feature that they have already decided to implement, to helping the team really explore whether implementing this feature will help us achieve our business goals and whether it is the best way for us to achieve our business goals. Here I can give you another example. For example, your product team comes to you with, they have already decided they want to implement another feature, they want to add it to your product. And when you start challenging them, why do you really want to do it right now? They say that, well, this feature has been requested by our core client, and we believe that implementing this feature will make our product more valuable to them. And as a result, will help us attract and retain more users who fit this profile of our core clients, right? So this is their logic. They think that by making the product more valuable to their current customers, they can drive and retain more new users. So you can start thinking, does this logic really hold, or what are the blind spots? What are we missing? So in this case, what the team was missing was actually, understanding that really, humans they are definitely attracted, to a better option, and they definitely have pains with their current solutions. But it's, making a more attractive product just not enough to really make people want to switch, right? So it is this other part that the team was missing, that people were very much committed to their current solutions, even though they had a lot of pains with those current solutions, right? But they were very loyal to them because of the switching costs, right? So just because you make a more attractive product does not yet mean that this will help you reach your business goals. So it's really, I think really taking a step back and exploring why do you think doing X will help you the most to reach your business goals. Maybe there are other parts we don't look, and maybe they are even more important, because what if we focus our efforts a bit on reducing those barriers to switch? What if we see what the switching costs are? How can we help reduce these barriers for people? And maybe then we can gain more new users to our product. Yeah, so it's basically, the role of research is really to operate, not to take research request the team has, like, let's just go and explore how we should implement this feature, but really, helping the team explore assumptions behind why they think this feature needs to be implemented and why they think it is the best option to drive business impact. Maybe there are other options that are going to drive that impact even better for us. Yeah, so as a recap, I think the main takeaways, briefly, that strategy is about making choices based on what's going to drive most business impact. Then what makes research strategic is not only addressing strategy level questions per se, but also developing a research program that is very relevant to the stage of your company and the stage of its product. And if you're not given time and space to do strategic work, you need to use tactical work to provoke strategic questions and reframe the value of research as helping test assumptions. Yeah, that's it for my talk. I think that, in my experience, at least, it's most product stakeholders, they want to make decisions based on business impact. They want to be efficient in how they reach business goals. But, I think it's this lack of exploration of options, the best options, how to get there, and our assumptions behind those options is missing. So I think that's where research can come in and be more of a strategic partner in those conversations, rather than a partner they just count on to decide how to do the feature or to test whether they have done it right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I will hand it over to Sina then and the questions.
Thank you so much, Natalia. That was super interesting. Thanks for your input and sharing your expertise with us.